Hello and welcome to Follow That Female. Have you ever considered becoming an executive coach? Today I'm here with Jayne Jenkins, so thank you, Jayne, for your time today. Jayne is the founder and the CEO of the Churchill Leadership Group Inc, which is a global coaching organization which provides transformational strengths, accelerated coaching and learning journeys to corporations to increase the impact of both leaders and teams. So Jayne is not only the CEO of that organization, but she's also a very experienced corporate executive coach herself. She's a Fortune 500 leadership veteran from AstraZeneca and Sanofi-Aventis. And for over 23 years, Jayne worked in those large organizations, developing her leadership capabilities, developing the teams, and was actually responsible for delivering over 600 million US dollars per year, which is amazing. So Jayne, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about the leadership role that you play within Churchill Leadership Group, and also what you can tell us about executive coaching?
Thank you, Amanda. It's a delight to be here with you. And yes, Churchill Leadership Group is a global coaching organization. So we deliver coaching solutions, learning journeys that really transform the mindsets, how leaders think, the behaviors, how they show up and act, and the skills, the soft skills that they need to succeed. And if you think about the last couple of years and what the world's been through, particularly some of those behaviors, mindsets, behaviors, and skills have shifted. People want more of an empathetic leader. They want greater inclusion on teams. So, those are always changing. And so it's important that leaders continue to look for ways to get better. And that's where we come in. We provide the learning journeys, programs, coaching in that space. So my role is CEO of the organization, and I'm a coach. So I do some coaching work as well.
And what actually inspired you, Jayne, to get into that profession in the first place?
Yeah, a great question. So if you think about it, I got into coaching first, and that was the Churchill Leadership Group. But back in those days, over 10 years ago, it was just me. So I was doing everything. What inspired that for me to transition from corporate world, and I loved my corporate career and had a lot of success and a lot of value that came with it. To do this was I'd learned so much in corporate, and one of the things I'd learned 21 years ago was how to be a leader coach. So that's not an executive coach, but it's going from being a leader that tells, directs, maybe trains, to really learning how to coach my people. And when I did that, it almost was like this weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I credit AstraZeneca for helping me learn how to coach and be a leader coach. I always thought I had to have the answers. My team would come to me, team members, and you have to have the answers, etc. And it sort of shifted how I thought. No, I don't. I have to empower them to think through. I've hired really smart people. They have proven their worth. When they come to me, the answers probably lie within. Or with a conversation, a safe space, they can figure out what they need to do. And so that's really what coaching did. It made me realize I didn't have to have all the answers. I learned a way to have conversations that could empower people to figure out the answers, the right answers for them versus try and get my way. And at the same time, I realized how much I was holding people back by giving them the answers. Wow. So this insight really made me think. And then I learned about strengths and understanding people's strengths, how that could add a layer to coaching and development. And I was like, I want to do more of this. There's so many frustrated leaders in organizations. I want to create an organization where this is what I do all of the time.
Mm-hmm. So you're not only coaching leaders, but you're coaching leaders to basically empower their employees or their teams to meet their full potential, right? At the end of the day. So, yes. Like you say, if you're providing them with the answers, then they're not necessarily thinking for themselves. They're not getting to that resolution themselves. Understand?
And that becomes a habit. If someone always gives you the answers, you'll always keep going for the answers. But if someone challenges you to think, and you start to grow in confidence that, I can take a bit of risk, things are safe to try, there's high trust in the relationship, my manager believes in me, then people start to, and they stop knocking on the leader's door as much because they're empowered. And then you start to really build a high-performing team. They lean on each other more. And coaching really works.
That's interesting as well that you mentioned the empathetic approach, which really goes hand in hand with that kind of decision-making approach as well within a team, right? And the way that things are going right now, leadership is very much going more down that path, which is a great thing. Thank goodness for that during COVID, right? If you look back at the 70s, it was much more almost authoritarian, right? The main decisions came from the leaders and everything was top down, whereas now it's much more from the kind of team upwards to the leader, and servant leadership, all those good things, right, that go with it.
Yeah, we call it command and control. It's a common term in our industry, and the shift from that to empowerment. And that's what employees want nowadays. It's a whole different world with communication and access to information and therefore ideas. And so companies are realizing for real innovation and solutions for customers, we need to talk to the people that are closest to our customers. That's where the ideas are. And so if leaders tell, you lose those opportunities and ideas and innovation. And so if you empower and listen and include and really listen to understand versus listen to tell them they're wrong and you're right, it's been a great shift. And I think it's an upside of COVID that's somewhat helped that to a degree. And so the work that we do is coaching executives where they want to grow in certain areas. And to your point, our leader as coach program. So the coaching one-on-one executives and team coaching, that's executive coaching, team coaching. The leader as great coach program is where we empower leaders and teach them how to coach. But that's not quite at the executive coach level. It's at the leader coach level, which is where I started 21 years ago.
Right. Okay, great. And so what does a typical day look like for you professionally?
Yeah, and I know when we talked about this, you wanted me to share this professionally and personally, and I sort of want to step back here and share one of the reasons that I started Churchill was not only to do the work that really energized me all of the time and empower talent to thrive in leaders. It was also because, like you are, I'm like back and forth the UK, from the UK, I'm in the US, I'm a dual citizen. And I wanted our son to grow up with family in the UK in the summer because they get 13 weeks here. But corporate had me tied to about 6-7 weeks a year, which meant a couple of weeks a year in the summer I could take. And I was like, that's not going to work for my family and my values. So by starting my own company, I was able to work from anywhere. So I really see my life now as a blend every day of my purpose with my work and purpose with our lives. So instead of answering as two separate things, I think I'd answer it sort of as one. Right. My typical day is I plan my day. I usually plan ahead with my calendar, but my day enables me to decide what's most important, what's most urgent. So I'm thinking about that pretty much as soon as I've got up and done some meditation. I exercise. I'm a huge yogi. Exercise, spin class, go to the gym. Then I'm in a variety of different business meetings. Most of those are with clients, new clients, clients with new needs, where I'm the first point and talk through those needs. That's where I use some of my coaching skills. Meetings with our internal leadership team at Churchill, our ops team, and we have over 400 coaches around the world. So meetings with coaches as needed. Then in between, I'm working on projects, approving contracts, working on strategic planning. Towards the end of the day, I may pop in a bit of exercise, maybe a walk in the beautiful area I live. And then it's all about quality time with family and friends. And through the day, I think what I've learned is to find a minute to slow down. Right, to breathe, to stay in the now. So I'm big learning it from yoga. We insert it in some of our programs. The importance of mindfulness and doing a bit of breath work, even if it's only a minute or two. It's amazing how much it grounds me, and that helps me just stay human. Right? Does that make sense, Amanda?
Yeah, I understand. I'm a big yoga fan myself. Actually, I do a lot of.
I didn't know.
yes, the breathing. I find meditation a bit challenging, to be honest, because just slowing my mind down. But like you say, it's important when you've got so many things coming at you. And especially in our culture today, there's so much tendency to try and multitask through the day.
Oh, yeah.
That you've just got to slow down and focus on one thing at a time, or else ultimately you get nothing accomplished because you've got all these 30 open tasks going on at the same time and none of them are completed, right? So yeah, I completely understand what you mean about slowing down your brain, just tune in, be mindful, right? Which is kind of Buddhist practice as well a little bit. Be mindful in the moment. Don't just skip through your day. I think that's very important. So it sounds like your career choice has given you an excellent work-life balance and a lot of flexibility to, focus not only on work, which is important, but also the personal things that are important as well, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of quick tips for your audience is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Tollard, I think his last name is. Superb.
Toll.
Yes.
Toll. Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle, thank you for that. I love him. He's such a character. I love watching his videos. That really has sort of helped me reinforce staying in the now and using breath work to do that. And the second is the importance of women to be able to say no and have confidence and not feel like they're hurting relationships by saying no. And learning how to do that is an important lesson. And one thing I do is use the important versus urgent grid. We do have a copy of it on our website as part of a blog. Feel free to grab that free resource. But it's out there on Google, important versus urgent. And it helps you just prioritize in the moment, in the day, in the week, so that you can know what to say no to.
That's great. Yeah, no, I'm going to go check that out myself. And I will actually put a link to the website in the comments below. So if anybody wants to go and check out that blog that Jayne just mentioned, it will be in the comments down below. Okay. So in terms of characteristics of the type of people that you think would be best suited to this role, what typically are the main characteristics that somebody needs to display to be good in executive coaching or leadership coaching? What do you think is important?
In my role as a coach, from my experience, I would say you need to be a lifelong learner. I'm a corporate executive coach. Like, our work is with corporations and the government, the US government. We don't do the life coaching or individual entrepreneurial coaching. So in the corporate world, expectations of leaders constantly change. So as a coach, you have to stay on your toes. You have to be up to date with the neuroscience. You have to be up to date with the trends in coaching. And I am surrounded by so many amazing coaches as part of our team that keep me on my toes, as well as my own learning journey and certification. So be a lifelong learner. But remember, coaching isn't about teaching people. It's in empowering them to learn themselves, but you have to love the concept of learning. Corporate leadership experience has really helped me do my job. Right. I bring that credibility. I've been in their shoes. I've suffered their problems. So corporate leadership experience is a real asset I have found. And then the business ability. If you're a coach, you've still got to bring in the business. You've got to market your brand, know where your niche is. So having a good sense of business ability. Business isn't just going to land on your doorstep. If you let go of, I mean, you might decide to be a corporate coach within a corporation and they pay you salary and all of that. But if you go out on your own, you need good business acumen. Right.
If you're an entrepreneur and you're still a salesperson. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, absolutely. That's really, really good insight there. Thank you. So any other challenges or obstacles that you've had to overcome along the way that you would like to mention?
Yeah. I think it's really through the lens of being the CEO of Churchill is doing too much, or trying to do too much, or seeing too much opportunity and then trying to do too much at once. And I've got team members on my leadership team that really ground me. They're really good for me. They're different. We complement each other. We think differently, and they are amazing at really sort of, almost helping me look in the mirror and like, I'm doing it again. Through a lot of the strengths work that helps me understand my strengths overdone. I am very futuristic in our strengths finder work, and so I can see what's possible. I'm very visionary, and I want to do what probably will take 3 years yesterday, and so I get impatient and try to do too much. And I work at that, and I've been working at that for a long time, and I'm still working on it. So that's probably my biggest challenge. Seeing too much opportunity, trying to do too much, and getting impatient along the way.
So really focus, which comes back ultimately to the matrix that you were talking about, and prioritizing, right?
Yeah. I have to have tools to help me deal with that challenge, and that's one of them. Yeah, good connection.
Right. So really, I mean, it's really a very mixed bag of skill sets at the end of the day. I mean, you've got to be an expert in multiple fields, and also, as you mentioned earlier, have that credibility already under your belt, because you're not going to walk into a scenario to coach leaders that are potentially already have been in leadership for many years themselves if you do not bring your own credibility and your own credentials and experience to the table, right? So that foundation of going through those challenges yourself so that you can coach others definitely through them later, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So for the viewers out there, thank you to Jayne Jenkins. That's the Churchill Leadership Group. Like I said, I will put the link down below in the comments. Jayne, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Bye.
Bye.